Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today I've got another unboxing for you. This package here, it's come all the way from Tasmania. In here I've got a handmade pen. Let's explore this pen together as I unbox it. We'll take a look at it, we'll take a look at the ink that I'm going to put in it, we'll do a writing sample, then I'll give you my first impressions. So join me down on the mat, let's kickstart this conversation. So here we are down on the mat, let's jump in and see what's in the envelope. So easing it out, I've already cut that end off just to make it easier. We've got some cardboard. Let me just get my scissors. And let's quickly, carefully slice through. Let's get rid of this rubbish. Then looking inside, one lot of cardboard gone. Just carefully do this elastic band. And then inside, we've got some bubble wrap. What's in that bubble wrap? Well, more elastic bands. It's really well wrapped. Let's take out that. Let's take away this. There we go. Clear away the rubbish again. So what we've got inside this bag is a pen, inside a little pen holder, and we've got 4 cartridges. Nice to see that we're getting things like cartridges included. Let's move these cartridges off. Let's get into this and let's see what we've got. I love these pen pouches. I think they're nice little useful things that you can put your pens in to protect them. So inside here, let's turn it the right way around, we have this. This is a handmade pen. It's come from Tasmania, which is where it's made. So how did I find this pen? Well, I was on eBay. I was looking around, I was a little bit bored, and I was just seeing what fountain pens that there are on there. I do that from time to time. And this came up and I thought, wow, that looks different. I do have another wood pen, which I'll show you in a minute. And I thought, yeah, this looks nice. It's a wooden pen and it's a wood that's called Golden Sassafras. I thought, well, that's different. It's a native wood to Australia. So I thought, yeah, nice and Australian based there. And I do have another pen, which is made from a very similar starter kit. So I thought, let's give this a try. When I looked at the price, well, I was a little bit gobsmacked. 25 Australian dollars. I thought, well, that's dirt cheap. We've got to try that. So I ordered it. About a week later it arrived. So really pleased with it so far. So let's take a look at this pen. As you can see, it's wooden, which is that Golden Sassafras. I wouldn't like to try saying that word after I've had a few drinks. I think that would come out all sorts of different ways. But if we're looking around it, it's got some really nice colouring in there. We've got some black bits, which is Black Heart Sassafras. And then we've got the rest. Look at that. I think it looks really, really nice. The top of the pen, the finial is flat. I would say it's like a brassy type colour. I don't think it is brass, could be, but it's a brassy type colour. That then comes down in one piece to the clip. Wow, very, very stiff. I think I may struggle with getting that into my shirt pocket. The cap itself, as I say, it's got this gorgeous wood and it is coming out and then it's coming back in again as it comes down towards these metal bands. Really nice shape. It gives it a little bit of interest rather than being one similar shape. We've got this metal band here. Feels quite rough. Feels like it could be threads. I don't think it is. I just think it's the way that it's made. But it feels rough. I think this is what you get in a kit when you buy a kit. Then we come down to the body. And again, that's coming out and then back in. So it gives it a little bit of character, rather than one of those flat pens that's just the same width all the way down. Just going to move the focus point, there we go. At the end of there, we've got another finial, again with a flat top. And this is threaded, and that's where it actually posts onto. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Let's take off the cap. So the cap comes off in half. 1. I would say maybe even 3/4. I'm going to do it again. Half. Yeah, 3/4 of a turn and it's coming off, which reveals this. So here we have a gold coloured nib. Again, I think this is a kit nib. So on the nib, we've got this nice decoration going around the side. Underneath that, we've got the breather hole. Then underneath that, we've got Iridium Point Germany. So I would say this is one of those generic nibs that you see all over the place on AliExpress. It's fine. All I care about is does it right. The nibs are medium, which again is fine because I'm quite enjoying medium and broad nibs. It's a smallish nib, but again, on this type of pen, it's exactly what I'm expecting. If we come and look into the section, so the section, we've got a little bit of black at the bottom. That's where that nib's going into. Then we've got a gold coloured section. I'm not sure, it might be plastic. It doesn't feel metal to me. It feels a bit plasticky. Again, don't really care because all I want to do is use it to hold a pen with. At the bottom of it is a little lip. Then we gently come in and then go out. So it's a nice slope for holding the pen. So if I show you there, how it is when I'm holding it, my fingers sit really nicely in that slight indentation. Really comfy so far to hold this. Pen's a little bit short to hold unposted. As I say, it does post, and to post it, you screw it on so it's nice and secure. It's definitely now longer. It feels very back heavy though, so that's something I need to be aware of. I might end up having to use this unposted. It's just about usable unposted in my hands, and in this one it feels quite nice. And the cap, it's very heavy, but I think that's a combination of the brass that the body's made out of and the wood. But yeah, nice pen, quite enjoy it. The top of the section, where we've got the threads, I don't think they'll ever get in my way because the way it's built, there's a really big step up. But overall, looks not too bad. I do like these wooden pens. Let's do some comparisons. Just going to swap my holder. There we go. Let's pop this one in the middle, shall we? So the first pen I'm going to fetch in is this. This is another handmade pen, and I got this from Fremantle Market. As I say, I think these are using a very similar kit to make them. If we take the caps off, you know, yes, they're different, but you can certainly see the similarities. And they're both using those Iridium Point Germany nibs. Just pop this out of the way, pop the cap back on. Couple of other pens. Pilot Metropolitan, Lamy Safari. Just so you can get an idea for the size. Again, let's take the caps off these. These are both pull off. Whereas this is a screw off. I do like the screw off caps. If we look at that, I would say the nib is very similar in size to the Pilot Metropolitan and looks just slightly smaller than what's in the Safari. Again, let's get rid of these. Helps if I try to put the right cap on the right pen. The last pen I'm going to fetch in is a Jinhao 9056. This is a wooden pen that I bought from China. I like the colouring slightly more on the 9056 because it's that little bit darker. But that's something that I think will come with age on the Tasmanian pen. Again, let's take the caps off. The Jinhao, it's got one of those standard number 6 size nibs. But the nib, I say just because it's bigger doesn't mean it's better. So what I'm going to do now is step away from the table. I'm going to give the pen a clean out. When I come back, we'll take a look at the ink. We'll fill the pen up, do a writing sample, then I'll give you my first impressions. So I'm back. The pen now being cleaned out, ready to have the ink put in it. The ink is by Robert Oster. It's called Honey Bee. I've had this sample for ages and I've not really found a pen that I think would be suitable for it. But looking at these together, I think it's going to be a nice combination. This Honey Bee, not as saturated as a number of the brownish families that I've got. It's a very yellowy brown. I'm hoping that it's going to suit this medium nib. I was thinking about putting this into a broad nibbed pen, but as I say, none of my broad nibs are really in a pen that really suits this. So that's why I thought, yeah, we've got this nice light brown. Let's try the Honey Bee in it. Let's fill it up. Fetch in the dragon to hold my sample vial. So here we go. Robert Oster Honey Bee. Take that cap off, pop that in, get ready to fill this. So the filling mechanism in here, if I unscrew it, it does come with a converter. It's one of the ones where you slide up and push down. So the pen goes in, I pull it up once, I go down again, up, down again, and then finally up for that third time. And we look like we've got some nice ink in there. Just going to wipe this off, pop the pen back together, and then get rid of this ink vial before we end up spilling it all over the place. It's time for the writing sample. So in comes my notepad. This is a black and red notepad. It uses the Oxford Optic paper. It's a paper I really like, and I try to use this same paper for all my writing tests. So let's see what we've got here. We have got, let's call it a Tasmanian handmade pen. Handmade, I can't spell. It's using that Sassafras wood, the golden version, and the nib. It's a medium. The ink, Robert Oster Honey Bee. I think this was a good choice of ink. Let me just cap that up, fetch this in. When I'm seeing this down in writing, it's definitely looking like a nicer match to the wood in this pen. This is one of the problems when you've got swatches. I do think the swatch does affect the colour. To me, it always looks darker than it is when it comes out of a pen, which is one of the reasons why I like to get these writing samples done, just so I can get a better idea for what the ink colour actually is. Wetness tests, immediate. Yeah, that's a little bit wet. 10 seconds. That's dried off quite nicely already. 30 seconds. Finally, 1 minute. After a minute, little tiny smudges there coming off the edge, but other than that, nice and dry. So reasonably good drying ink. For my final writing test, I'll move the mic down to the paper so you can hear it right. That's quite pleasant. There's nice feedback coming off it. It's not an overly smooth nib. That might be something I can look at later on myself after I've used this for a little bit. I do like the colour of this ink though. I think that looks really nice in this. I think this is an ink I need to get into some more pens to try it out in those as well. The pen is really nice to use unposted. Posted, I'm not certain because I think it would be too heavy for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post it now. There we go. And then I'm just going to see if I can get any flex from the nib. Actually, it's not too bad posted. Once you get going, you don't really notice it. There's a tiny little bit of flex in the nib, not a massive amount. But if I put extra pressure on, I am getting slightly wider lines. Do I get the same going across? Yeah, sort of. So there's a little bit of flex, a little bit of give in the nib. But I don't buy my nibs to flex with them anyway. I buy them to just write normally. But it's nice to know that there's that there if I do want to do something a little bit fancy with a couple of letters. But I wouldn't want to do a whole document with it, as I've had to apply a little bit of pressure to get that little bit of flex coming out. Overall, I'm really impressed by this. I love the looks. I'm really enjoying the couple of wooden pens that I currently have. So this is going to be nice to add to that collection. For what I paid, $25, it's astounding value, really is. I mean, my Fremantle pen, that's the grey one that I showed earlier, here it is again. That cost me nearly $100, so it's 4 times the price. And for that Fremantle one, I had to go to Fremantle, which is about a 40-minute drive from here. Whereas the Tasmanian one, well, it was $25.50. We're going to call it $25, but that included the postage, so a quarter of the price. I like the writing. I'm seeing a little tiny bit of shading, but I wouldn't expect too much from this ink because I think it's a fairly unsaturated ink anyway. I like that it's that pale brown colour rather than yellow. I have tried a number of yellow inks, and what I'm finding is, for me, they're just too pale. I'm not enjoying writing with them. This one though, I think I'm going to like using this because it's got that bit of brown, so it's got that bit of interest in it. I'm going to have to practice saying the name. Golden Sassafras is really causing my tongue to trip around in my mouth, but it's going to be something interesting to talk about if I can ever get the name out. I'm pleased I got this pen. Would I buy another? Absolutely. I'd like to see some more pens in this wood, but obviously with different styles. I'd also like to be able to buy different size nibs. That's one of the problems with a lot of these handmade kits. The nibs are usually just medium, whereas I would love to see them with a broad nib. Really recommend this pen. If you see one, I would suggest grab it because I think it's good value for money. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Don't you just love these handmade pens? Yes, I know they're using the same kits to start with, but it's the details that are added on afterwards. That's what I love. Have you got any handmade pens? Why not drop a comment down below? Let's kickstart our conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. The more people that like, the more people that comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.